Dodos have been the symbol for extinction for really a very long time, but if we can bring them back, they could become the symbol for de-extinction. A crazy awesome biosciences and conservation company called Colossal aims to do just that. First though, dodos were even chunkier than I always thought they were. They averaged almost 3 feet tall, and at 30 to 50 pounds they were like a big medium dog weight-wise. They evolved and lived on the island Mauritius, east of Madagascar in the Indian Ocean. Back in 2002, paleogeneticist Beth Shapiro and her colleagues did the first ever genetic analysis on the dodo. And they found that the dodo's closest living relative is this really cool looking Nicobar pigeon found on the Nicobar Islands off of Southeast Asia and the Indian Ocean. We don't know when it was that proto-dodos arrived on Mauritius, many millions or tens of millions of years ago. But whenever they did, they found themselves in a pretty good spot with plentiful resources and a lack of predation. Without that predation or food scarcity, they lost the ability to do some pretty basic bird stuff like using their wings for flying. But they actually evolved to be pretty good at island living. Like, dodos get a lot of guff on account of the fact that they're kinda ugly and seemingly stupid in depictions. But really they just weren't prepared for us and all the invasive animals that we'd bring with us, and I don't think you can really blame them for that. Mauritius is hit by tropical storms about 3 to 5 times a year and is directly hit by cyclones about once every 5 years. So dodos had to have been pretty resilient and well adapted to island life. Their legs and pelvises were thick and stout so that they could easily navigate rocky terrain with their chunky bodies. Their huge noggins and beaks were probably good at picking up and managing fruits, roots, seeds, and nuts. And they might have even supplemented their diet with crabs and used that big hook on their beak to settle territorial disputes. Charles Darwin actually went to Mauritius on the last leg of the voyage of the Beagle in 1836. But the dodo had already been extincted for about 150 years by the time he got there. He even mentioned the dodo when he was talking about the Falkland Islands wolf. He said, "Within a very few years after these islands shall have become regularly settled, in all probability this fox will be classified with the dodo, as an animal which has perished from the face of the earth." And then the Falkland Islands wolf did go extinct just 40 years after he predicted it. Having evolved without significant predators, dodos were unafraid of humans. And they were pretty easy to catch and snack on if you could avoid getting bit by their powerful beaks. So humans eating dodo nuggies did contribute to their extinction, but we don't think it was the main thing that made them go the way of, theirselves. No, it was likely the goats, the rats, the pigs, the macaques, and the deer that we brought with us that wrought the most havoc. Because dodos only laid a single egg a year, and they laid them right on the ground, and many of those animals had a taste for dodo eggs. It's actually kind of awesome and bizarre being around wild animals that don't have a fear of humans. A few years ago, I went to the Galapagos Islands, and we walked around some blue-footed booby nests with a certified naturalist guide. Like the dodo bird, these booby birds weren't afraid of us walking the trail near their nests. And they also plant them right on the ground, which is super cool. And I want to see some island dodos dawdling all day too, dang it. So how is Colossal Biosciences aiming to do that? And how can it be good for the Mauritian ecosystem? Well, remember Beth Shapiro from earlier? She's actually Colossal Biosciences' chief science officer now, and they have the world's leading de-extinction researchers and scientists on the case. In 2022, her and her team at the University of Santa Cruz, in collaboration with Colossal, announced that they had sequenced the entire dodo genome. The plan is to locate and isolate differences in the dodo's genome from that of a closely related pigeon like the Nicobar pigeon. Then they'll extract germ cells from pigeon eggs and genetically edit its genome to mimic that of the dodo's genome. Then they'll implant those edited germ cells into the egg of a pigeon or a chicken. Interestingly, the surrogate will likely be genetically engineered to be the same size as the dodo, so that the eggs will come out the same size. And then it's on to incubation, hatching, and real-life dodo proxies. It's really a lot of varied and trailblazing work, and Colossal is working on all of these processes in tandem. This science will revolutionize our ability to work with and finally clone other avian species, and to help conservation species with avians in general. For example, this pink pigeon here is also native to the island Mauritius. And in the 90s, there were only 77 of these cute pink pigeons left in the world. There are somewhere around 500 today, but they're definitely not out of the woods yet. They were left with a genetic bottleneck that makes them susceptible to disease and genetic defects, what comes with generations of inbreeding. Left unchecked, it's estimated that the pink pigeon will go extinct within the next 50 to 100 years. But this work with the dodo is already providing valuable insights into how we can add genomic data from historical samples. Basically, it's a way to diversify or unbottleneck avian species. Like, this is when I think science is at its absolute best, when it's solving problems long thought to be unsolvable. Like, I never asked him, but Darwin probably never thought that an animal like the dodo could come back from literal extinction. When you're lucky, like we are here, the best thing to do is also the coolest thing to do. Like, how cool would it be to add to the story of the dodo? So that instead of only symbolizing our ability to callously and thoughtlessly remove species from the face of the earth, they could also symbolize our ability to bring an animal back with thoughtfulness and dedication.